Ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant good afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the start of a new term here at the Mico University College. My name is Kay Dunkley, and I'll be your moderator for today's orientation session. We are delighted to have you here with us to begin this journey or to continue the journey with us. Whether you're joining us for the first time or returning, today marks a fresh opportunity to grow, to learn, to connect. Orientation is designed to give you the tools so that you can have the insights necessary to thrive academically and socially here at the Mico University College. During today's session, I ask that you take the time, concentrate, because you will be meeting key members of our community. You will be hearing from our university chaplain, our president, our registrar, our assistant registrar, our director of finance, as well as from our own project officer, who will be telling us more about finances and also scholarship possibilities. We will also be having a session today on supporting your family members, spouse, and friends as you go on this journey. Thank you again for joining us here at the Mico University College, and we encourage you to ask questions, take notes, and engage fully. Of course, we continue to welcome you and to support you as you go on to this new journey. This new journey, this new chapter, starting today. Once again, welcome to Orientation 2025, Mico University College. Ladies and gentlemen, as we start, we would like to welcome our own Reverend Bosworth Mullings, who will start today's session with a reflection. Reverend Bosworth Mullings, our University College chaplain, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Sister Kay. Are you hearing me clearly?
Loud and clear, sir. Loud and clear.
Oh, loud and clear. Great, great. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to be online at this time, but I am looking forward to the in-person meetings that will happen further down the road. Now, as we gather for this session, this orientation session, I'm going to request that we put away any distractions and center ourselves on the Word of God so that we can acknowledge God's holy presence. And so we start with acknowledging God and inviting us all to worship God. We gather today to worship the one who created us, the one who protects us and preserves our lives, the one who calls us and equips us, the one who loves us without end. Let us worship God with joyful and thankful hearts. Let us pray. Gracious God, our Heavenly Father, we thank you again for every person registered at the Mico University College, whether for the first time or repeat. We ask, Lord God, that you will be with them and you will encourage them as they go forward. So, Lord God, be with us. Speak through me as I share from your word, and let all our hearts be drawn to you so that in unity we can truly acknowledge your awesome presence and lordship. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. The devotion comes to us from Exodus chapter 2, verses 1 through 10. And I'm reading from the New Revised Standard Version. Now, a man from the house of Levi went and married a Levite woman, The woman conceived and bore a son, and when she saw that he was a fine baby, she hid him 3 months. When she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and plastered it with bitumen and pitch. She put the child in it and placed it among the reeds on the bank of the river. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. The daughter of Pharaoh, came down to bathe at the river while her attendants walked beside the river. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her maid to bring it. When she opened it, she saw the child. He was crying, and she took pity on him. This must be one of the Hebrews' children, she said. Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and get you a nurse from the Hebrew woman to nurse the child for you? Pharaoh's daughter said to her, yes. So the girl went and called the child's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, take this child and nurse it for me, and I will give you your wages. So the woman took the child, nursed it, and when the child grew up, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she named him Moses, because she said, I drew him out of the water. This is the word of the Lord. Colleagues, friends, brothers and sisters, Myconians, all, we are here at this moment, which is historic. And we have just listened to a story, a remarkable story, an unlikely story, the story of how Moses' life was preserved. And if we know our Bibles any at all, we know that Moses went on to be one of God's greatest servants and to deliver the children of Israel from slavery out of the hands of the Pharaoh and the Egyptians, because God heard their cry. Now, this is a story. And I want us now to focus on ourselves, to look at ourselves and to remember that each one of us has a story. We all have stories. Just today, I was listening to the radio. I think it was actually, and they were asking for the names of the Governor General to Mico over the years. Sir Clifford Campbell and Sir Howard Cook. This great institution over the years have produced 2 Governor Generals. I wonder what they thought their lives would be when they entered the Mico. I wonder what stories were told about their beginnings. I wonder if they even thought they would have a touch of greatness thrust upon them in their own story. Remember, I told you that you also have a story. And so as we listen to this story, the meditation is about being protected, being preserved for God's purpose. In our story, each of us was created by God for a purpose. Yes, you might have entered this place, this institution, with trepidation. with uncertainty, not knowing what will happen, not knowing the future. But isn't that what happens to many of us? No one knows the future. But what we are reminded here, that even in humble and uncertain beginnings, God had his hand upon Moses. And right now, especially those who have trusted God and have given their hearts to Christ, they must know by now that they are protected. And those who have not yet come to that place and know that there is a God who loves his people must know that throughout your life to this point, you have been protected. And you have also been preserved. This is only the beginning of your story, a story that will lead many of you to greatness. If you will only humble yourselves and trust God and or allow God to direct your lives. The scripture in Proverbs tells us, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Now, new students, especially today, with all the questions and answers that you have, I am asking you to give thoughts to the fact that God has his hands upon your life. And that as you have come into this institution, this great institution of learning, which God has preserved over more than a century, going towards 2 centuries, you now are taking your place. You now are going to get the opportunity to be empowered for a future which you know not of, but a future which God knows. He knows the plans for you. You don't. But he will reveal it. And all you have to do is take advantage of the opportunities given to you to be empowered so that you too can take your place in history. I declare to you today that there's someone or someone's that God has protected and preserved to this moment, like he did Moses, for specific task, specific purpose, even as this nation charts its way forward into history. So acknowledge that God is with us all. Acknowledge that you are all special. Acknowledge that we are all part of your story. And when it's told, you recognize that it's God who brought you here. Let us pray. Gracious God, our Heavenly Father, we give you thanks and praise for this Mico University College and all the staff, all the administrative staff, all the academic staff, all the ancillary staff, and especially now the reason for its existence to train young minds. Yes, Lord, to fulfill their destiny in you. And so, God, bless them, keep them safe, keep them grounded, keep them being empowered so that you can use them for your purpose. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. Amen. God bless you all. Over to you again.
Thank you ever so much, Reverend Bosworth Mullings, our university chaplain. Thank you ever so much for that very important message. That message is, listen, you are protected. You are here. You are on a purpose. And as you take this journey with us, we ask that you take that faith, use that faith to make sure you propel yourself as you go along. We now welcome Dr. Asburn Pinnock, our president of the Mico University College, who will be doing welcome and a message to you all. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear, sir. Loud and clear.
Yes. To our new students and our returning students and our colleagues, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Rev. It is indeed my pleasure to be greeting you this afternoon. And I say to our new students that you have made two vital decisions in your life, and they may be two of the most important decisions that you'll ever make. The first is to enter the noble profession, the teaching profession. And secondly, is to do that at the Mico University College. And at this note, let me welcome you to the Mico University College, the oldest of its kind in the Western Hemisphere, and arguably the most accomplished and legendary institution across the Caribbean. It is important for me to begin by congratulating all our new undergraduate students. And ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. You have made a good investment choice. And this choice is in your future. And it is the right choice. And you are at the right place. Please share my gratitude to your parents, your guardians, and supporters, because I know that without them, you would not be here today. And thank them on my behalf for the sacrifices and encouragement and other types of support that helped to bring you here today. Students, your orientation comes during an important moment in our nation's history. In just a few weeks, Jamaicans will go to the polls, and many of you will participate in the general election. And the voting process reminds me of the power of choice, the individual's power to determine his or her future. And by choosing to empower yourself and to contribute to national development by enrolling at the Mico, you're answering a call uttered by the founders of the Mico. Our founders knew that real independence comes only and achieved through educational empowerment. And I sent the same message just recently as the nation celebrated Emancipation Day. Ladies and gentlemen, emancipation reminds us that freedom was not given, but earned. The period.
And that was my fear in that because what happened, the birth rate go down.
Please mute your mic. Please mute your mic. Dr. Pinnock, please unmute. Over to you. Dr. Pinnock, you're still muted. Please open your mic, Dr. Pinnock.
Are you hearing me now?
Loud and clear, sir. Sorry about that interference.
Okay, let me get back on track. So I was reminding you that freedom was not given but earned. And the period should remind us of our ancestors' resilience and of their belief in freedom and their courage to fight for generations that would, people like yourself and myself, that they will never meet, but they did it because they know it was right. Students, please recognize and accept that today you stand as beneficiaries of that struggle of emancipation. Your presence here is proof that our founders' dreams lives on. And now it is your turn to dream and to prepare for Jamaica's future. The dream to educate the descendants of slaves made the Mico more than a college, because the institution began to write its own story. New Miconians, by now you know that you are just joining, not just joining a university, but you're joining a legacy that began in 1836. So next year, we'll be celebrating 190 years. And throughout that time, the Micos produced ministers of government. As Rev just told you, two governors, governor general, global educators, scientists, entrepreneurs, and innovators. You are now part of that lineage and must now demonstrate your self-worth. We're not trying to intimidate you, but we're trying to explain to you that you are standing in and among giants. You will be equipped to make impactful contributions across many sectors. And that is because a degree from the Mico is not just limited to one profession. While many will graduate and become teachers, and while that calling is noble and regarded by the Mico as a huge qualification, the Mico's degree is versatile and it will land you anywhere you wish to go. It equips you with leadership, discipline, research skills, and creativity. It prepares you to take on any challenge that you so desire. And all we ask is that you do it with your mind. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mico experience that you are commencing will be a foundation, not a limit. It can open doors to careers in business, technology, government, and social services and beyond. New Miconians, there could not be a more fitting time to commence your studies here. This year, we have launched what we call the Join the Legacy, as we prepare to mark our 190th anniversary. And we are inviting you to join this legacy. The campaign asks that of us to think bigger and to see ourselves not just as students or lecturers, but as legend in the making and sculptures of our legend. You will see and hear more about the campaign in the near future as we move across the island and to share the Mico's experience with those of us who live in diverse places in Jamaica. You'll hear stories of the Miconians making their mark around the world, and you'll have an opportunity to add your own legendary moments to the Mico story. Your story with the Mico begins today, and so it's important for me to leave you with a future. And therefore, in the coming months, there'll be days when the work feels heavy, when the journey feels long, when doubt creeps in. In those moments, I encourage you to remember three things. One, resilience. Just as our ancestors pressed through hardship to achieve freedom, you must persevere through your challenges to achieve success. The Mico has shown its resilience, and today we celebrate 190 years. Responsibility. Just as our nation prepares to make important decisions at the ballot box, you must always make wise decisions about your studies and your life. And remember, the decisions you make may not be popular, but they may just be right. And of course, versatility. Take every opportunity the Mico offers. Our clubs, our leadership roles, volunteerism, internships, scholarships, etc. And to ensure that you explore and build yourself to be the best that you can. Future Miconians, I welcome you officially to the Mico University College. You are now part of the family, a tradition and a mission that is older than independent Jamaica itself. You walk in the footsteps of legend, and it's now your turn to write the next chapter. As you begin, I charge you to be resilient, to be responsible, to be versatile, and above all, to be legendary. welcome to the Mico, and I look forward to working with you as you seek your career goals. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you to Dr. Asburn Pinnock, our president of the Mico University College. A round of applause, man. I don't see any emojis. I don't see anything coming up, sir. Thank you very much for that very, very moving speech. Very moving welcome. Because yes, colleagues, friends, students, you have joined the legacy. You are here and you have joined the hallowed halls of the Mico University College. Again, we ask that you be engaged. And we know all the steps are not clear at this time, but it was Martin Luther King Jr. who says, you know, that you have to take that first step. Everything else will find its way because, again, we are children of God and we operate within that faith. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Pinnock. We now welcome the registrar, Mrs. Mercedes Dean, who will be giving her welcome and message. Our registrar, Mrs. Mercedes Dean. And I hope you're writing these names down, you know, because they're going to play important parts in your journey here at the Mico University College. Mrs. Dean, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Dunkley. To our chair, Dr. K. Dunkley, our president, Dr. Pinnock, our chaplain, Reverend Bosworth Mullings, our vice presidents, other members of faculty are on this platform at this time, and senior administrative staff. And above all, and by no means least, you, our students, who have by now completed your registration and are bona fide Mico students. Good evening. It is with great joy and pride that I extend to you a very warm welcome. Our first year students, as you begin your undergraduate journey here at the Mico University College, today is not only an important milestone in your lives, but also in the life of this college. As each new cohort brings fresh energy, new perspectives, and the promise of tomorrow's leaders. You have entered an institution that is guided by the inspiring motto, "Do it with thy might." These words will accompany you throughout your time here at the Mico, reminding you that whatever task lies before you, whether in the classroom, in leadership, in service, or in your personal life, you will be called to give your very, very best. If you embrace this spirit wholeheartedly, you will discover that your capacity to grow, lead, and make a difference is greater than you could imagine. As you begin this chapter, I encourage you to reflect on the core values of the Mico, and this will shape your whole life. Dr. Pinnock before spoke of the legendary aspect of the Mico, and you are entering into a space that has proven itself outside of its own capacity. The core values of the Mico are: 1, leadership. You are called not just to follow, but to lead with courage, vision, and humility. In the years ahead, seek opportunities to develop your leadership skills and use them to inspire and uplift others. Service to others. The true education is not only about what you achieve for yourself, but also about how you contribute to your community and to the wider world. Find ways to give of yourself in service, both inside and outside of the university college's wall. Academic excellence. Commit to your studies with diligence and passion. Excellence is not perfection, but a consistent effort to do your best and to keep pushing beyond what you thought impossible. And integrity. Let your word be your bond. And let honesty, respect, and fairness guide your actions. Integrity will not only sustain you here, but as educators, potential leaders, it will also define your professional and personal life. You build beyond these years. This new journey at the Mico will bring excitement, discovery, and growth, but it will also bring challenges. There will be moments that test your resilience, your patience, and your determination. Do you want to succeed? But remember, you're not alone. Staff, faculty, and even so, more so, the Registrar's Division are here to support you and guide you through every step of the process, from registration to graduation to the alumni. I can safely say to you, at the registry, everybody begins with an A. You start with an A. How far you move from that A and or you stay in that A is all in your hands. But the support services are here to help you along the way. As you settle in, I encourage you to set clear goals for yourself. Manage your time wisely. Some of you who are leaving home for the first time might think this is, wow, freedom, freedom, freedom. But manage your time wisely. Choose carefully. Strike a balance between academic responsibilities and personal development. Participate in student life. Explore your passions. Build lifelong friendships. And make the most of the opportunities that the Mico offers you. Finally, never lose sight of the bigger picture. The education you pursue is not just for you, your benefit, but also for the benefit of others, for your families who have invested much and are expecting much, your communities. Your communities will want to descend on this campus at your graduation in droves, in bus loads. We might not be able to accommodate all, but this is what it means to your community, and ultimately for the betterment of our nation. On behalf of the University College in general, and specifically from the Office of the Registry, I congratulate you on your admission and welcome you warmly to our family. May your years here be enriching, transformative, and filled with purpose. As you embrace this new beginning, I leave with you these words of encouragement. Whatever you do, do it with your might. Thank you.
Mrs. Dean, thank you ever so much for that warm welcome to our students. And again, we encourage them to read the Bible. And it says, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. Mrs. Dean has given you guidance, guys. Listen carefully. For those of you who are leaving home for the first time, you're going to have to balance. For those of you who are working and coming to school, balancing time, very important. We're now leading up to another presentation from the registry, and this time it's by our Senior Assistant Registrar, Mrs. Phoebe Brown Francis. We call her to talk to us a little bit more about what she needs you all to know as you join the Mico family. Mrs. Brown Francis, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. May I be permitted to share my screen? Okay, thank you very much. Madam Chair, Dr. K. Dunkley, to our President, Dr. Asburn Pinnock, members of the academic staff, administrative staff, students, parents, guardians, welcome. And to our students, I want to say you have done it. And thank you so much for making the Mico University College your place of choice. Now, briefly, we just want to go through a number of things just to ensure that you're on the same page, just to ensure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. And of course, for clarity in some areas, as Dr. Dunkley would have mentioned. So you would have met our registrar, Mrs. Mercedes Dean. However, within that office lies a number of other departments to which you will be required to familiarize yourselves. And these include the Student Affairs Department, the Examination Department, and the Transcript Department. These are the three main departments under the Office of the Registrar in which you are required to familiarize yourself, because this is where you're going to interface mostly during the life cycle. So the Office of the Registrar has a mandate, and it is clearly outlined in this customer service statement, which is supporting student achievement through outstanding service. And this is what we aim to achieve. You might have come upon some of this information before, but I'm sure there are persons on for the first time who would not have been to our information sessions. And so these are our commitments to you. It's communication. We ensure that we do it with a level of professionalism, where equity and fairness, of course, is a part of our thrust. And we do it all with integrity and accountability. Now, the focus of the registry and the various departments under which we fall, we look at the people, which is you, our students, and the Mico community at large, the process and the policy. Now here, I want to pause because your policy will be the student handbook. You'd have gotten it in your acceptance package. So if you have not done so already, when we are off tonight, you just go back to your acceptance package. You click on the link that says student handbook and you start to read, because this is what is going to govern your stay here at the Mico University College. Now, many of you would have passed this stage of the process already, which is meeting the matriculation requirements. However, the Mico University College, through its mandate, is very lenient. And so we find that persons really don't possess the necessary subjects. So you have 5 CSEC, however, maybe you fell short in a math or English with a grade 3, and so you need to catch up on it. Some of you would have received a letter stating it's a conditional letter of acceptance. And we give you at least 1 year in which to ensure that you capitalize or you sit that subject and take the results to us. I'm so sorry about that. There's a truck passing. So if your letter says a conditional letter of acceptance, it will clearly outline that you need to do that outstanding subject, get the required grade, and submit it within 1 year of your studies. So we don't allow you to stay out there and then you come in. No, you'd have gotten that offer of acceptance, and so you're here today. If you have not gone through all the processing for the application, because I'm sure we have persons on, or parents or guardian, you may not have made up your mind as yet. And so our application process is an easy one. You submit your completed application form with all the supporting documents. This is reviewed and verified, and it goes for evaluation, and then we issue an offer letter quickly via your email. So you don't even have to come to the Mico. You can send it to us via email and we'll respond. What you need to do though, and for persons who are on who have not done so as yet, we're inviting you to complete that offer of acceptance form. It forms part of your acceptance package, and so you will see it within the package. So you click on it, complete the form, send it to us. Now here we are to the big thing, the registration process. It's just 4 steps, and some persons might find it a little tedious. But if you follow these 4 steps, you will be fine. So the first thing you need to do, or you should have done, was to make payment of your fees. Now I want to pause here because some persons may say, okay, I'm getting student loan, I'm getting a grant, I'm getting scholarship. Remember, you would have been told that you still need to make the payment of the miscellaneous fee, which that 45,000, it tells us that you're committed to your studies. And so you should have paid that 45,000. If not, we're encouraging you to do so. And then you're able to go and select your courses and upload for financial clearance, indicating clearly in that financial clearance form that either you have gotten a scholarship letter or you're a student loan applicant, or you're getting a grant and you would have gotten that letter. So you need to upload that. If you have already made payment, then you upload the receipt. Now, this financial clearance is not done by the Student Affairs Department. It is done by the Student Finance Department. And I pray that you're taking notes. So the Student Finance Department is the one that deals with all monies. No money is accepted at the Student Affairs Department. So just to reiterate, all payments and all letters that deals with financing must go to the Finance Department. That's the Student Finance Department. And you should have been getting some emails from them indicating their process and how you should go about it. But you must upload your receipts, your letters, indicating the means of payment. All right? Now, once you have received clearance, how do I get clearance, miss? So you would get an email from the Student Finance Department to indicate that you now need to go back on the area and confirm your registration. I hope you have got that. So the first thing, make a payment. You come on, go on your area, select your courses, and that is once you have gone through the process of creating your account and so on. But I'm going to go there with you. Then you upload your receipt, complete that little form quickly. I don't think it takes 2 minutes. Once you have received clearance, then now you must go back on area and account and finish the process. When you finish the process, it will tell you that you are now registered. It will confirm your registration. This video was sent, it's a part of your application, your acceptance package. If you have not done so, I'm gonna play it for you. It tells you the process for creating your Arian account. And it's only 5 minutes. I want you to pay keen attention for the first time listeners, for those who have not done so already.
Mrs. Brown Francis, the video is being played?
Yes. Are you
No,
seeing it
no,
and hearing?
we're not seeing a video.
You're not seeing? Hold
No,
on.
not seeing or hearing a video.
And you're gone so far. Hold on. All right. Seeing it now?
Yes, I'm seeing it. Can you do
Okay.
all right, yes, but I'm not getting the words. Not hearing. Well, can you please start it playing it with? I'm not hearing at all. Did you share sound?
Let me go again.
Yes, please. Please be sure to click that little box that says share sound, share audio. Thank you.
To activate your Arion account,
Got it. Thank you.
That's it. Okay.
arion.themico.edu.jm. You will need your student ID number provided in your letter of acceptance. Click on the account activation link and complete the form by entering the requested information. After completing the form, click on the blue Activate button. Please remember the password you create during this process, as it will be the password you use to log into the area. Once activated, log in with your ID number and your password. You are now on the Arion homepage. On the left side of the page, you'll find your name, student ID number, and your generated Mico email address. This email address will be the primary means of communication between you and the Mico. Take a moment and send an email from your personal address requesting the activation of your Mico email. Be sure to include your full name, student ID number, and the email address listed on the homepage. Send it to helpdesk@themico.edu.jm. The homepage also includes a progress tracker for your degree and your GPA. To choose your courses, select Academics. From the registration category, select Register for classes. Under the open registration period, there are several program levels. For this tutorial, we'll be selecting courses from the Student Timetable Undergrad Main Campus. Click Begin Continue Registration. On the course selection page, you can search for a course by typing a part of the course name or the course code. For example, if you are looking for Foundations of Language, you can type FOUN into the search field and click the search button to see the matching results. The number shown under the seats column indicates how many seats are still available for that course. To reserve a seat, simply click Reserve next to the chosen course. You will see a confirmation message indicating that your course has been successfully added. All your reserved courses will be listed in the Selected Course section of the page. Now, let's add another course. This time using the course code, Intro to Psychology. Enter PPSY1101 into the search field and click Search. Select Reserve to secure a seat in the class. Click the Continue to Next Step button to go to steps 2 and 3. At step 3, you're now required to apply for financial clearance using the link available on our webpage. After you make and submit your payment to Student Finance, you will receive a confirmation email from them regarding your status. Once your payment is approved, you can move on to step 4. If you have not yet completed your registration, do this to remove a course. Select Academics. From the registration category, select Register for Classes. Select your program level from the open registration period. Click Begin Continue Registration. Select Step 1. A message indicating if you are navigating to a previously completed step will appear. Select Yes to continue. All reserved courses will appear under the Selected Courses section of the page. To delete a course, simply click Remove. A confirmation dialog will appear verifying your request. Select OK. Your course has been successfully removed.
All right, so I hope you would have gotten those processes, and it's very timely, and it also forms part of your acceptance package. So if you miss a step, you still can go back on that video and redo that step. Now for persons, the video mentioned removal of courses, but there's a stipulation. If you would have completed the registration, meaning gotten financial clearance and confirm your registration, you could not go back on that step, right? So that would have to come through us at the Student Affairs Department. However, if you have completed that, if you have not completed the confirmation aspect of it, then you can go and remove the course. I hope that all students would have gotten their program outline, and so that will enable you to select your courses. If you have not done so, we will be sending out tomorrow all the course outlines. I'm sure the departments have indicated that they have done so, but just to ensure that we catch everybody in the loop, we will be sending it out from the enrollment email tomorrow. So if you have not gotten it, please be assured that we'll be sending it out tomorrow for you again. All right. Okay, so continuing. So the life cycle of your stay here at the Mico, of course, involves 4 major steps. The first one you have taken already, which is the application process, and you're in the middle of the second, which is the registration process. Then you have the examination, and then after you have completed 4 short years with the Mico, then you'll be up for the major grand ceremony, which is your graduation ceremony. And of course, all of that lies with the office of the registry. Can you imagine? So we'll be interfacing a lot, right? And I heard the chair mention that she hoped you would have been catching those names. So Mrs. Mercedes Dean, Mrs. Phoebe Brown Francis, Mr. McLean, and so on, right? So we'll be interfacing a lot. Other functions of the Student Affairs Department, we look at exceed credit limit. And so if you read your handbook, you will find all of this information therein. Your exemption, if you're seeking exemption or credit transfer from another institution, if you have change of option, meaning a change of program, all these forms are available in the office of the Student Affairs Department. We also deal with add and drop or name change. What do you mean by name change? So you got married and you want that name to appear on your certificate at the end of your program study. Yes, you can do that. Come to the Student Affairs Department. Now, we know that there are circumstances where persons may get ill or whatever the reason, and you'd want to sit out a semester. We're not encouraging it because there are effects down the road. However, if this do happen, we also look at what is called a leave of absence. And this is done directly through the Office of the Registrar, Mrs. Mercedes Dean. So just in case circumstances come up and you'll be required to sit out a semester, remember it has to be a semester, then you'll make the request through the Office of the Registrar. Following that, in order to resume your studies, you still have to communicate that to the Office of the Registrar, and a letter will also be prepared for that. Now, for the examination department, ensure that you're first fully registered. What do I mean? You make your payment, go on the area and select your courses, upload the financial clearance form, and of course, confirm your registration. Then you proceed to the Student Services Department where you complete your health and insurance forms and get your ID. Because come December, you're going to be sitting your first set of exams and you'll be required to have the Mico University College identification card. So you're not fully registered until you're able to produce an ID, right? And that comes directly from the Mico. Now, in addition to that, the examination department also assist, and I say assist because I realize that we continue to have students coming to our department to print their exam permit. And this is something that you need to show to say that you're fully registered and you are also a part of the course. So please pay close attention to the process. And of course, your manual is the student handbook, right? You'll find all of this information. The transcript department is also another area or department that you will be visiting. The transcript department is responsible for transcripts, verification letters, and what do I mean? Your status there at the university college. You know, maybe something comes up and you are required to produce a letter to indicate that you are indeed a registered student at the Mico. This is the department that you go to ensure that you get that letter. So it's not going to the Student Affairs Department for all the services or the Student Services Department or the Registrar's Office. Each office has specific functions. And I'm encouraging you to familiarize yourself because you will find delay if you are not sure of where to go. And that completes my presentation. I just want to say to you again, welcome to the Mico University College, and it's a pleasure to serve you. Have a good rest of the afternoon.
Students, thank you again, Mrs. Brown Francis. I thank you on behalf of the students because I see one question. Where can I get the course list that you just mentioned? Students, I remind you that tomorrow you do have academic orientation. I do remind you that you should already have information for that, and that will be able to go into your faculties and get more information for your course listings and program guides. We do remind you that that is happening tomorrow, so we ask that you make sure that you have that information. We are continuing because, again, ladies and gentlemen, so far you've heard from our president, Dr. Ashburn Pinnock. You have heard from our registrar, Mrs. Mercedes Dean. You have heard from our senior assistant registrar, Mrs. Brown Francis. We have been blessed by the university chaplain, Reverend Bosworth Mullings. So we are now going to be talking about the finance and the scholarship part. We're going to focus a little bit on the scholarship part today because we do know that persons are saying, listen, I've started this and I don't know how I'm going to pay it next year. I don't know how I'm going to manage next year. So we will be focusing a bit today on our scholarship presentations. And we call upon Mrs. Yvonne Young-Wallace, who is our project officer who deals with the scholarships. I have some information, but she is the person to give you all the information that is needed. Mrs. Young-Wallace, I ask you to come to present. Again, I remind you guys, academic orientation, you should have the information for academic orientation scheduled for tomorrow.
Welcome, 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 everyone. I give you a big clap, new students, because you are now joining a legacy of greatness. Our esteemed president spoke of certain well-known individuals in our Jamaican society and also abroad who have come from the Mico. They are the Miconians. We're very proud to say we are Miconians. And you are on that trail, that journey in the legacy of greatness. So this evening, I just wanted to talk with you about that word called scholarship. So you have managed to make your first payment and entering with excitement into the Mico. But I know you're all excited, ready to go, and you're somewhere in your course and you stop, but you draw breaks and say, but hold on, how will I finance next year and the years after? Well, the Mico has you covered. We are very particular, very mindful of your well-being while you are within our halls. So we have gone far and wide, abroad and near and far, to garner scholarships for you. Now, what is scholarship? In this term, well, when I was going to school, we never thought this, which was many, many years ago, we never thought we qualified for scholarship. But now we have made it such that there is a scholarship that can cater to every one of you, every need that you might have. We heard in interviews, scholarship interviews, the heartbreaking stories of what some individuals had to go through to continue on their dream, to fulfill their journey at the Mico and to graduate with their degree. They had to do really heartbreaking ways of making a living and begin getting monies, getting funds to pay their fees. Well, we are trying to make that as easy for you as is possible. So we have garnered scholarships of all degrees, all worth, everything that you would all want to do to continue your journey. We have scholarships for the sciences, scholarships for arts, scholarships for necessities such as books and utilities. Some scholarships even cover a lab. If you need to purchase items for your lab, we have a scholarship for that. Now, before you start thinking, oh, but I don't qualify, everything about the scholarship, whenever the scholarship becomes available, it is posted on the website. And that's one thing we would advise you to do, exhort you to do. Always check the website and your email address, your emails. All the time we send whatever scholarship is available to your email address. So please don't say, oh, I never saw that, and then you would come late. Be a Miconian from you enter this door and be vigilant and aware. The scholarships, we ask something of you in return, and that is we reward excellence, which means excellence in your schoolwork, your deportment, your being, how you be at the Mico to prove that you are one of the proud legacy of greatness. We encourage excellence in all things, and we strive to ensure that you do not have this financial burden thinking, where is your next fee coming from? So that you can be free to focus on your studies and in turn generate that excellence. Now, we have made the process so easy for you. And you're going to say, oh yeah, you can say that because you're dealing with it. But no, it is easy. You need the application form. It's on the website. The closing dates for each and every scholarship is mentioned. Please make sure you make a note of that, because some students come months after the closing date and say, please, I'm in desperate need. I need a scholarship or else I'll have to drop out. You hear those heartrending stories? So make sure you are on top of your game once you enter these walls. Make sure you are aware that when in an interview, somebody asked me, what would you leave for the generation to come? And I would say, be aware. Always be aware of who you are, where you are, what you are. And that being, you would imbibe all the information you can, which means starting from the website and your email. The application forms are online. There is an application for STEM scholarship. That's a scholarship for the science subjects. There is a PATH application form, which I will explain a little later. And then there's a step-by-step guide as to how you would do the process. Failing that, the scholarship unit is housed in the project office. So anytime you have questions, I'm open to welcoming you. Please come and see me at the project office, and we will iron out all your concerns. Now we have scholarships available from 1st to 4th year, different criteria for different second year, for 3rd year, and for final year. So the one thing we ask of you is that you keep your GPA up, which means you are striving for excellence always, always striving to have 3.0 or more. You will find that many of the criteria of the scholarships ask for GPA of 3.0 and above. Strive for that, along with striving for excellence of being. Now, we have a lot of scholarship, not a lot, but we have varying scholarships, and it is up to you to do your research to see which scholarship you qualify for. Please do not qualify for all 28, 29, 30 scholarships all at once, because you would have had to read through the criteria to ensure that you qualify. Some persons are applying for 4th year scholarships, but you just disqualify yourself right there. You're a 1st year or a 2nd year, and you're applying for a 4th year. Do the maths. Do not, I'm asking, send your application without your supporting documents. The application form for scholarships lists all the documentation you would need, but you need to send them along with your application form so that you do not delay the process, delay the time that your application is processed. And I'm stating a fact. some students, some applicants, they apply early, very early, and then we write back and say, oh, you need this and this and this to complete your application. Okay, they sit on it and the deadline is passed. Then they realize, oh, I didn't submit. And then they try to say, oh, but it's too late. You see, to be fair to everyone, because notwithstanding that we have varying amounts of scholarships, but there is a limit. So we have to be fair to everyone and ensure that pieces of the pie is available or are available to every one of you. So do your due diligence, do your research, get your documentation in order, and submit them all at once. Even if you negate to send one, you can do that the next day or the day after, but not months after. Please, because I care about you and your well-being and your welfare, I'm asking that so that you can reap the benefit of a scholarship. Now, to qualify, a part of the qualifying for the scholarship is that you have to give a good account of yourself in an interview. You have to convince the interviewers that they don't want sub-stories. They want to know your true story that says, oh, this person really is in need. And it is too really very bad to start. And then you have to, as our senior assistant registrar said, have to ask for a leave of absence. As she said, we do not want to encourage that. So as much as you can, be conscious and aware of what your particular situation is and get all your facts together, get everything together and submit. So when you are in this interview, be your true self. You might not be aware of it, but the interviewers have gone through many interview experiences, so they can spot a lemon or a genuine gem. So be your true self. And while coming to the interview, you would dress professionally. And you know, one of the reasons why the Mico is legacy of greatness, I consider the Mico to be golden. Even the uniform, although they say the yellow is mustard, I consider it to be gold. So even the uniform is gold. So we need that character from you during the interview. And above all, be your charismatic self. Now, these scholarships have come from past Miconians, some of them, who have walked this path before you, and they know of the difficulties. So they have put their hearts and their hands together to make sure that your future is as stress-free and you can focus on your studies to get, of course, the A's, the 3.5s, the 5 point, if you can go that far. Please ensure that you do that. Now, some persons, they weigh their options. They say, okay, the scholarship, and everything is closing in on you, and payment time is coming up and you cannot see the first dime and you feel like giving up. We ask you, don't. Visit the scholarship office and see what we can do, or do your research and see what scholarship is available online. We ask you to be your best self while you're at the Mico. Now I am going on to what I mentioned before, the PATH bursary. That is governed by the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. There are some students who have been on PATH or a beneficiary of the path since high school. And you can continue that while at the Mico. You do not have to go down to the, the Duke Street office now to get the path, to apply for the path. We have the path application online, and you apply for it there and submit it through the Mico. And we will look after the rest of it for you. See how easy and kind we're trying to make your journey, easy and smooth we're trying to make your journey. So one critical aspect of the path is if you were a beneficiary in high school, you must ensure that you have the correct family path number. This delays the process. Some students submit a number, I don't know where they got it from, but the ministry would send back to us and say, candidate not found. So you know what that means for you if that happens to be you. So ensure that if grandma hid it under the mattress or mom has it traveling up and down in her handbag. You know, we ladies, we travel with every single thing in our handbags. Make sure, one, well, in the era of phone and cameras, make sure you take a snapshot of it so that you can always have the number on hand. So the path bursary application is submitted with your first year is coming in. You can apply. You submit it with your CSEC or CXC results. And that's what you need to do. So we would encourage you all to take advantage, research what is available, see what you qualify for, which ones would be of benefit to you in your studies, and stay updated. Visit the website often. Look at we advertise on social media, and of course, your email address. So once again, we are available at the project office. You can come by anytime and talk, well, almost anytime, not nighttime, evening time, morning time. So I'm just having a conversation with you here to say you can, we're so approachable. You can always come to us and we discuss your situation. So again, I clap you for making this decision to come to the Mico to join the legacy of greatness. And we welcome you and thank you all for choosing the Mico. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Young Wallace, our project officer. Thank you very much, because guess what? The scholarships are available and we don't want to return them. We don't want to send them back because persons have not applied. Please, 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 we ask that you pay attention, especially those young men. Young men, we must call upon you to apply. Why? Because this year we didn't see so many, you know. We were looking through and we didn't see so many. We encourage you to apply. We will be having another finance presentation today, but at this time, I'm just going to say we are a little bit ahead of time. The next person up is Mrs. Denise Walker McCarthy. But just before we get there, I want to remind all persons coming in that the Mico does have a Mico song. The Mico does have a Mico song. I am going to be reading words from the Mico song soon, but I want to remind you of our mission and the mission that makes the Mico stand out and stand strong to support national and regional development through well-educated populations by preparing students with the required knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values in teacher education, and by promoting a culture of inquiry, learning, and service through our talented and dedicated staff. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you here, indeed, I am a Miconian. The vision of our university college remains to be a university of choice in the Caribbean with distinction in teacher education, research, and community service. For those of you who are joining the special education family, let me tell you, when you say special education in the Caribbean, the first is the Mico. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a little bit ahead of time. I do remind you of the academic orientation tomorrow, scheduled for tomorrow. And I will be reading a little bit of the University College song. I'm giving Mrs. Denise Walker McCarthy a little time, as we're a little bit ahead of time. Let me just say this one always stands out for me. Patient endurance, unstinted devotion, passion and service for others their due. Never they yielded to forces opposing, stayed not their work for the space of an hour. Talking about the Myconian who go through it all with resilience, responsibility, and engagement. Because again, we are standing on the shoulders of our founders, and you have joined a legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue with Orientation 2025, I call upon Mrs. Denise Walker McCarthy to talk to us about supporting your family members, spouse, and friends, because this is a journey of years, and we do not want to cause any problems within those relationships. Mrs. Walker McCarthy, I call upon you at this time.
Good evening, Dean Dunkley. Thank you so very much. Good evening, everyone. And I am going to be as brief as possible. Now, a key, and I'm hoping that you're seeing me. You know, it's a little dark, my neck of the woods.
I am seeing you.
Okay, good.
And hearing you clearly.
Wonderful. You know, my background tells you that this is really where I want to be. Right, by the beach, you know, just enjoying. All right. So yes, and without further ado, let me just quickly share just 12 slides with you. And one is actually for question and answer. So let me just go quickly and share. All right, so hopefully you are seeing it. Let me move quite a few things out of the way as well. All right, good. Okay. All right. Come on. All right, so now when I was asked to do this presentation, I had to think about it for a little while. Which approach would I take? Now, and on what authority do I speak, actually? Having been in all areas, actually. So I've been a spouse supporting somebody who is studying. I have been a mother supporting somebody who is studying, still am. And of course, I've been a friend. So how do we empower the relationships that we have so that tertiary, which becomes a milestone for families, is not overly burdensome? So we want to have a look at that today. And we want to look at the strategies that we are going to be employing to effectively support our loved ones who are here in college. Now, I am going to give my disclaimer, and my disclaimer says, first of all, I would have done some research, ChatGPT, you name it, all of those, and I would have been looking at what's the best way to present, and I came across this particular app. I think it's called Gamma. So this is from Gamma with my words interspersed. All right, so the key thing that we take away from any support is that it is a two-way street, right? You are going to be a student, the receiver. So if there are parents here, of course, welcome. You are actually going to be pouring into your child. And high school, we may have felt that, hey, high school was rough. Now, this is where young adults are going to be stepping out. You would have heard the mention of freedoms. But yes, those also come with responsibilities. And we want to assist our children, assist our young adults to actually do what we call lifing. We want to say that they're doing the adulting And therefore, we want to establish these very strong connections that will inspire academic success, creating a supportive atmosphere for learning. How do we support? And that's critical because we want to offer support without appearing as if we are helicoptering these young adults, that we're not giving them space to grow. So we have to balance our support, right? And their need or their demand for independence. And so we want to empower them to be autonomous, not simply just in their learning in terms of classes, but we want to ensure that our young adult is actually able to reach out to us when it is that they're having some challenges. So we may not be able to help them with the chemistry, the physics, the bio, the geography, and of course, the learning how to teach others to learn, right? And so the education courses that they will be taking, they may not necessarily reach out to you for information, but it may mean that they pick up the phone and they say, Mom, Dad, Auntie, Uncle, Grandma, I am stressed. Give a listening ear. Listen to them. Allow them to feel that there's a safe space, to know actually that there's a safe space being created for them. So they're going to be developing essential life skills. You're going to be providing them with the guidance, how to balance. We see to the left of the screen here, nutrition, that's important. How is it that our children are feeding themselves? You know, we'd hear about what they call the struggle meal. I don't know if any of you hear that expression or you've ever heard of the expression, the struggle meal. And sometimes that is what they whip up, they put together little leftovers that they may find, and then, you know, hope and pray that they will not end up at the doctor for food poisoning. But they throw things together. They share communally what it is that they have within. So if they're not living with you, they may be living on the dorms or with other friends, family members, etc. And so therefore, they are learning these new skills. So they may have left home, you know, they're not so great at cooking, but they're going to figure it out, and you're going to help them. They may be calling you. How do I prepare this particular meal? And so that is support that you are going to be offering them. No, and that support is also, of course, in addition to the financial support. And sometimes when the family resources are now split into so many different areas, right? So several of your other children may actually be going to high school, may also be in college, your friends as well, your spouse. So the finances are actually now going to be divided. How do you budget and encourage them to budget so that they can meet their own needs? Now, we have a tendency sometimes, because even in this research, we would see where the needs are actually combined as if, you know, they're all going through this. But within that, there are unique challenges that allow for tailored support. You know your friend best, You're the bestie, right? So how do you offer that particular support? Now, here also is an area that becomes challenging for them. So it's not just academics. They are now meeting new people. They are entering into several relationships. And when I say relationships, it doesn't mean that these are going to be those that are intimate relationships. They may be casual acquaintances, just the same, classmates. They meet somebody in the cafeteria. How is it that when your child is under stress, how do they react? How do they maintain that sense of balance, that semblance of self, right? And so they want to ensure that at the end of it all, they are respectful And therefore, you encourage your child, you encourage your spouse. Stop, step back, think. It becomes difficult at times. And so, of course, we're human beings and um, we may not maintain as well as we want to because the stresses are multifaceted and they are often coming at you in the same time, same space. And so therefore, how do we actually encourage that so that there is greater self-discovery and growth? So we learn from our mistakes. So we support our loved ones, right? And we have that discussion. So we explore their interest, we cultivate passions, and we encourage them to commit to their academic pursuits. You would have heard about the scholarships. Help them to seek these scholarships. Help them to seek ways of managing their time, managing their resources. And this only happens where communication is open, it is one that builds bridges and not walls. So we want to make sure that there is honest dialogue about the challenges. So that safe space must be one where you encourage your loved one to voice their academic struggles as well as their fears. Sometimes just sitting down and talking it through and saying, boy, you know, I have this examination, I have this difficult lecturer, I have this roommate who he or she don't clean up after themselves, or them turn up their music loud at night and they don't sleep, you know, etc. So all these things, how do they balance these? But you can be there to encourage them, to speak about them. And that in and of itself, when we give ear to our fears, then of course the monster under the bed doesn't seem that intimidating anymore, right? Now, our role is to actively listen for deeper understanding. You know, sometimes we hear because we hear, as in hearing. So we listen to respond. And sometimes that is not necessarily the best approach. But we need to be present in the moment. We need to help them to connect, right? So that when it is they recognize that you are going to give advice, but you're also going to ask them to problem solve, to self-reflect, to assess, and then make a determination on the way forward. Now, this is not my graph, I can tell you. And some of these, some of the figures, the percentages there, may change. It depends on what it is that your child or your spouse or your friend needs in the moment. So, of course, we've got to understand what the needs are. High on the priority list. We're offering that emotional support because that is needed. We're encouraging independence, right? And you notice that there's a dip there that's encouraging independence. May also indicate that you want them to be independent, but at the same time, they must be able to seek your support. Facilitating open communication. And most importantly, I think, is to celebrate that achievement. Can you imagine the test that your friend, your spouse, your partner, your child comes and says, hey, I was so worried about this particular examination, and here it is that I actually did well. Celebrate it, right? They may not even have done so well, but at the same time, you are going to be supporting and encouraging. It didn't work out so well. What do you think happened? Did you put in the work? Okay, so I am upset about the score that I got. Encourage them to reach out. The Mico is a wonderful institution. And I say this not just simply because I work at the Mico, but I'm a product of the Mico. Several of my family members are actually Miconians. And I can tell you that for the most part, once a student reaches out to us, we are going to respond, we are going to assist, but we are going to do so in such a way that, of course, the whole person develops. So, okay, miss, why is it that I have failed? So encourage your significant other, friend, child, to reach out, to ask, to interrogate self as well as practice, and we will see some results. Now, building stronger bonds through educational experiences. What does this entail? As a collective unit, because by this time you're recognizing that you are that bridge sometimes for your child, for your friend, for your spouse to actually navigate the space. So there are challenges, and we admit that there are going to be challenges, and many, they're just too numerous sometimes to list here. So the power of family support in education cannot be underplayed. Your family members will play a critical role in providing you with emotional support. Reach out, right? They may have practical solutions. Some of them may also have experienced some of these in their lifetime. And therefore, you don't need to drop in the same pit that they would have fallen into, because, of course, you can navigate that space. You now have your peers, and many of these peers now actually become lifelong friends. So engaging with them encourages you, fosters, engenders your understanding in a collaborative learning environment. And we encourage that here because, of course, that is the world in which we now live, where we are going to have to collaborate. We may not even be in the same space when we're doing so. Friends, when you make a true friend, when you buck up a true friend, you better believe, you hear Jamaicans say good friend better than pocket money. The friendships that you build at this point in time, they say that they are the unsung heroes of your academic life, right? Together, you are stronger. And so we speak about strengthening the bonds through shared experiences. You navigate the ups and downs of tertiary education together, creating lasting memories and strengthening relationships. Learning is actually a family affair. So guess what? Your child comes home for the weekend. Of course, allow them to share, allow them to work through, allow them to discuss, be a sounding board for them. Listen to them. Okay, yes, I like your body language. I like how that sounds. They are practicing a presentation. Encourage them to rely on you to listen. You may not, as I said, it may not be your area of expertise, but of course, you can provide that support. Forming study groups with your friends. That, of course, is going to be critical. Family, friends, uniting for your own support, and you are working with them, you are going to find that the experience becomes more enriching and fulfilling. To this day, I can recall several years ago, myself as a student, I will not date myself, thank you, but, you know, several years ago, I would have been watching movies on College Life, the ones that you would have seen, the offspring from the Cosby Show and those, and you saw how it is that they were trying to navigate college life in that space. Now, learning is lifelong. And so therefore, you want to ensure that many of these friends that you meet along the way remain with you and form your lifelong learning network. So moving along quickly, we did say already that you're going to be sharing the joys of studying. It fosters a sense of pride. Can you imagine? Sometimes we hear, you know, we're on the phone and we overhear, boy, you know, say, Jeannie come in this evening and we get our grades, you know, and boy, she did so well. Yes, man, just one tiny little bit pile up the things, but she did so well and she has maintained her scholarship, right? So we want to share that joy. We want to ensure that you also thank those who have actually helped you. Don't wait until when you graduate to tell them thanks. You tell them thanks in the moment. And so as you celebrate, you see the spread of food, right? You're noticing? I tell you, we want to mark these important milestones. We want to cherish the memories. So sometimes the financial support, you may find that the community puts together, it may not be a fish fry, fish expensive, but of course it may be a sprat and a little festival jamboree, and you get together and you celebrate because of course you appreciate what we talk about as the struggle meal. So overall, the emotional support is going to translate or work along with your academic assistance. You're going to balance your social engagement and you're going to work towards your career. At some point in time, you need to say, am I on the right track? You start to target yourself. Am I going where it is that I set out to go from day one? And most importantly, so although we may see this financial advice as 70%, sometimes it requires a whole lot more than that. And so therefore, it may actually be that you're going to need more financial support. And financial support doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get more money, but you may get that support through learning how to budget and to balance your needs versus your wants. Thank you. At this point in time,
Listen, Mrs. Walker McCarthy, thank you ever so much, because that's one of the things about the Mico space and the Mico culture. We don't try to leave anybody behind. We don't try to leave the families behind. And let me tell you, family members, friends, we don't like to see the pot cover at graduation, but we know they're there somewhere. We see the busloads of people coming. And I want to again talk about the mission, because one of the things that the fact that Mico has stood on its mission. Mico has created a space for many, many, many families for their first person at the tertiary to be at the Mico University College. Our mission, the Mico University's mission, to support national and regional development through well-educated population by preparing students with the required knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values in teacher education, and by promoting a culture of inquiry, learning, and service through our talented and dedicated staff. And you have just met one of our talented and dedicated staff. No. So you recognize that we are not trying to leave anyone behind. We are doing our best to support financially, psychosocially. We do have a counselor, etc. We do have those support services on the compound as well. Thank you ever so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are aware that you have a gazillion and one questions about our English proficiency test. We are going to respond. We are getting a member of staff to come in shortly to add to our itinerary, to add to our agenda, to give you more information about the scholarship, about the English proficiency exam. I am now going to be calling on Chad Goldburn. Yes, before we go to the question and answer, before we go to the English proficiency test, I'm going to call on Chad Goldburn from finance to speak a little bit more about finance and things that you may have, questions you may have about the finance part. We are going to ask him to go there, and then we're going to into our question and answer. We were a little bit ahead, and we hope to maintain a little bit ahead as we thank you. And we say thank you for taking the time, for being here as we go through our orientation. Thank you again for choosing the Mico University College. We now call on Chad Goldburn, and then we're going to have, I think it is Mr. Philip McLean, who will be giving an overview of the English proficiency test. So I now call on Mr. Chad Goldburn. Are you here, sir?
Yes, good evening, Mrs. Dunkley. I am here. All right. Thank you for the introduction. Good evening,
welcome.
ladies and gentlemen. As was introduced, my name is Chad Goldburn. I'm from the Student Finance Department. And I'm just going to be really short, just to give you an overview of the Student Finance Department. All right. So as I said before, welcome to the Mico University College. And we hope that you will enjoy your tenure here at the college. And we thank you for choosing the Mico University College as your college of choice to begin your tertiary education. All right, so as we understand that you're all first years, the package would have been sent to you, or most of you, and the information would have been disseminated. So the tuition cost for this academic year is $360,000, and that's for the entire academic year, and the miscellaneous fee is $45,000. Now, there are a couple of payment plans that the Mico University College offers to students in terms of making payment for their tuition, right? Firstly, if you can and if you want to, you may make the payment in full, and you have up until, I believe it's September 30 to make the full payment. That would be the $360,000 and the miscellaneous fee. If not, if you wish, you can make the payments per semester. So the first semester fee would be due, as we said, during the period of registration, which would be your miscellaneous fee and half of the tuition if you're a day student. For evening student, you have 3 semesters from years 1 to 3, and your tuition would be split into 3 equal parts. So you'd be expected to pay the first installment and along with the miscellaneous fee for the first semester. Then the second semester, which begins in January, you'll pay the second installment. And the third semester that begins in May, you'll be expected to pay that installment. All right, and we also want to remind persons that there's a process for registration. So for every semester, regardless of whatever program you're doing, if it's the undergraduate program, the graduate program, if you're a day or evening student, if you're an online student, the process remains the same in terms of registration. For every semester, all students that will be attending the Mico University College during that semester is expected to be financially cleared and complete the financial clearance form in order to be registered, which is a part of the registration process. So we advise you to make payment first, because when you're completing the financial clearance form, you'll be required to upload the receipt of payment. So on the Mico University College's website, when you scroll down, you'll see a link that says apply for financial clearance. So this process allows the finance department to identify the students who will be attending the college, the program that you're doing, and other necessary information, as well as the payment option that you'll be selecting and the amount that you would have paid. So once you make your payment, you go ahead, complete the financial clearance form. Also, this form is sent as well in your emails. It's sent periodically, and you will see it's coming from the Student Finance Department, giving you instruction in terms of completing the form and submitting same. Right? So when you go on the form, it asks you information about yourself, your name, your email address, telephone number, your ID number, what program you're doing, what status you are, if you're a day or evening student, if you're an undergraduate or graduate student, the payment plan you'll be subscribing to, and the section that asks you to upload proof of payment. Now, as a new student, for you to be financially cleared, the miscellaneous fee must be paid in full, as well as a portion of the tuition, right? Because come the end of September 30, we review students' account to see which one of the payment plans you would have subscribed to. And based on your selection, we're hoping that you will hold up your end of the bargain. Once you've completed the financial clearance form, all you have to do now is to wait for us to send you an email to say that you would have been financially cleared. In the meantime, students are urged to go on your errand and select your courses. Persons who would have done so, you notice that when you go to step 3, you will not be able to move forward. That is because we have not yet financially cleared you. And we're asking persons to give us some time, because you have to remember, it's over 1,000 plus students applying for financial clearance, and it's a relatively small team going through the accounts. Right? Just to touch back on the financial clearance form, for persons who are on SLB, persons who are on the STEM scholarship, the MST VET scholarship, the Mico Sports scholarship, if you're on a scholarship that will be covering, if not all, but a majority of your tuition, when it asks you in the form to upload your receipt will be either one, the letter of commitment that you would have received to say, congratulations, you have received a scholarship, or an email from the entity to say that you have been selected for the scholarship, right? So you will use that as your receipt. For persons who are on the SLB, your receipt is the miscellaneous fee that you would have paid, because SLB only covers the tuition. And a little side note on SLB, regardless of the amount that you would put on the SLB application, SLB normally reaches out to Student Finance to confirm the tuition cost. So once we confirm with them what the tuition cost is, SLB will only pay over the tuition amount, right? Because there are some persons who would have thought that you could have included tuition along with the miscellaneous and submit that to SLB. SLB will not be paying the miscellaneous fee, only the tuition fee. All right, so once you would have selected your courses on the ARIAN, you're at step 3, you then wait for us to email you to say you have been financially cleared and you can continue with the registration process. When you receive that email, you will then go back to your ARIAN where you're at step 3, and then you go back to step 2, then you proceed to step 3 and complete the registration. All of this will be in the email that we will send to you to say that you're financially cleared. And we're asking persons to pay special attention that you would have selected all your courses before completing the registration. For persons who will be making additional payments, you would not need to submit the form again. All you have to do if you make an additional payment, just take a picture of that receipt and send to the Student Finance email. We do accept the calls because there are a lot of calls coming in. There are a lot of emails coming in. There are a lot of persons coming in to make their queries. And we try to respond to you in a timely manner. For persons who will be seeking financial assistance, you'll be required to, some person will be required to request a tuition letter, right? And as well as on the Mico University College's website, you can find this link. When you go down, scroll down, you will see the link that says apply for student status letter request. You click that link, complete the form, and the cost for the letter is $1,000. So you'd make payment for the letter and then complete the form. And the form asks you for specific information. All the information is necessary. So if you're applying to an entity, you need to know the name of the person the letter should be addressed to, their position, either they're the CEO, the secretary, the manager, the address, and the full name of the organization. All of that is needed for us to prepare the letter for you. Once the letter is ready and available, we'll send a soft copy to you. Then you can come and collect the hard copy. That's a quick overview of the Student Finance Department. Just reminding you that every semester, every student that will be attending will be required to complete the financial clearance form. That's the way finance knows that you're still attending and that you are requesting to be registered, pending that you are in good financial standing. All right, so we just want to wish you the best of luck. We hope that this is a smooth transition from your secondary education into your tertiary education. We encourage you to stay focused, and something that is very important, read your emails. We cannot stress this enough. Majority of the information that you'll receive will be coming to your email. And a lot of the questions that you are going to ask, or you have the burning questions and issues, they will be addressed via the documentations you'll be sent via email. So we urge persons to read your emails, especially those who recently received their acceptance letter. The instruction is there on how to activate your Mico email. It will be your primary source of information, all right? So pay special attention to your emails, read through the emails properly. Don't just rush through it and then you don't understand and then you call the officer, you cannot get through. You send emails and not get any response. You try to come and there's a long line and all the other obstacles when you could have simply sat down and read through the emails. All right, so we are here. Student Finance is here to address any concerns, to make any specific clarifications that you might need. And we just want to say welcome and congratulations in being a part of the Mico University College. All right, so thank you.
Thank you ever so much, Chad Goldburn. I do hope that you all are a little bit clearer on the financial steps, the steps to be taken to be financially cleared and to be completely registered. The Mico is not about leaving persons behind. It's about making sure that you have the information to get where you are going, because we want to be a part of the journey. We want to be a part of the celebration. And we are here to create the space and the support systems to get you there. Thank you again, Mr. Goldberg. I'm now going to be calling up on our representative, I believe it is Philip McLean, who will be giving an overview of the English proficiency test. And we are then going to be going straight into the question and answer session, because again, we do recognize that your time is important, and we thank you for being here and being engaged and giving us your attention. We do recognize your questions, and we are putting on a special segment just to make sure that you get the answers for the questions that you have posed. Is that Mr. McLean? Mr. McLean, you're ready? All right, let me see if we can go there. 1 second. Let me see where my team members are. All right, Mr. McLean, are you ready for me, Mr. McLean?
Madam Moderator, if I may make a quick request.
Oh, Chad, go ahead, Chad.
Yes, just wanted to quickly add, just reminding persons, there are several payment methods that they can use to make payment. We primarily would prefer if persons use the paymaster method. This will include your account number. That's the account number that you'll be paying to is your identification number. That's what you would receive in your welcome package. Persons may also make payment through online transfer. If you're a day student, we request that you make the transfer to the NCB account. And if you're a evening student, you make the transfer to the evening account. What we do from time to time is to periodically send out the account information via the email. So later this week, you may check your email to see the account information for persons to make payment. Also, if persons are receiving payment via overseas, or you're making a payment through overseas transfer, there's also a foreign exchange account that we will send out that information as well for persons to make payments.
All right. Thank you very much, Chad, for giving us additional information. Now, I'm going to be asking, I am trying to get in touch with Mr. McLean. He seems to be having technical difficulties. But Chad, you are in charge of our question and answer session. Ladies and gentlemen, while we get our information for the English proficiency test ready for you, I am going to be asking Chad to lead our question and answer session. To begin with, I see a question about where do I get the course listing? The course listing is usually available through your department, through your HOD, or your admin, or the admin assistant therein. You are going to be having academic orientation you can ask that question there as well. So Chad, I'm going to ask you to take over our question and answer session as I try to find out what's the technical difficulty happening with Mr. McLean, because I see him trying to come on, but I don't see him being able to speak. All right, go ahead, Chad. The question and answer session is now open. Question and answer is now open.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Dunkley. All right. So the question and answer session is now open. I believe persons will be allowed the opportunity to, I think, open their mic and ask the question, or you can put the question in the chat. I was also told that there's a team monitoring the YouTube page as well for the questions that will be posted there. All right. So as Mrs. Dunkley indicated, there should be an academic orientation session. So we ask persons to sort of reserve the academic questions for that session. And I can confidently say that most of those questions might be answered even before you begin to ask them during the academic orientation, right? So questions involve when does classes start, the course selection process, stuff that are aimed towards the academic side of the orientation. I believe those issues will be addressed during the academic orientation. All right. Is there any question in the chat? I'm going to check the chat. Persons have the opportunity to type in the chat your questions, and we will answer them as best as possible.
Sorry, Mr.
All right.
Goldberg, can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you now, Mr. McLean.
All right, great. Sorry, I was having some difficulties opening the mic. All right, so good night. Sorry, night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the orientation session. I hope you learned a lot. I realize there have been some questions regarding the English proficiency test. All right, so let's just mention that the English proficiency test is only for persons who didn't receive a grade 1 in CSEC English. That's English A. All right, and this test is used to assess your writing or communication skills. And it's basically to just help us determine whether you should begin with foundation English or you should proceed directly to essentials of communications. The pass mark for the test is 70%. And our final date to sit this test is tomorrow, August 26th at 9 a.m. or 1 p.m. To reserve a seat to do the test, just simply go to the acceptance package that was sent along with your acceptance letter in your email and complete the Google form, selecting the time that you want to do the test. For persons who would have done the test on the 30th of July, sorry, the results will be communicated to you by Friday, August 29th, and this will be done by email. All right, so I hope that would clear up the test in a nutshell. I know it has an impact on your course selection, but I'm just asking that you bear with us a little longer as we try to finalize the grades. Thanks, Mr. Goldberg.
All right, Mr. McLean, you're most welcome. All right, so bear with me. I'm trying to navigate both the Zoom chat and the YouTube page. All right, so I see a question asking when is the deadline for miscellaneous fee? All right, so how the registration process is set up, there is a period for registration. So for this first semester, registration period would have been from August 11th to September 5th. We urge and suggest persons to make your payments before September 5th so that you may complete the financial clearance form, so you'll be financially cleared to complete the registration. All right, so ensure that the miscellaneous fee and other fees are paid before September 5th so that you can complete the financial clearance form. Also, persons, if you're trying to pay the tuition in full or per semester, you may be able to pay the miscellaneous fee, pay an additional cost towards the tuition fee, and leading up to the 30th of September, then you can finish paying up the other portion of the fees. Just to ensure that you meet the deadline for registration, you pay the miscellaneous fee and a portion of your tuition fee by September 5th or before September 5th, because the registration period closes after that. All right, so I'm going to check the chat to see if I see any more questions. All right, so someone asks if you go ahead.
So there's a question in the chat, Mr. Goldburn, as it relates to if they will have to do info literacy. Info literacy is a requirement by all students that must be done within your first year.
All right. I see a question. Someone is saying if they have received a grant and however they would have made the payment for the tuition fee in full, will the money be rolled over to the next year? So whatever money that you pay or that is added to your account is remain on your account until we do the billing. Say for instance, your tuition is 360,000 along with the miscellaneous, and you have cleared all of that, and you receive a grant of say $50,000, $90,000. That money will remain on your account until the following academic year. Or if it's a case that you have a receipt doing, or we charge for the receipt, we do sometimes facilitate the payment of the receipt through the money that is remaining in our account. But ideally, we use those money to facilitate the payment for the next academic year. All right, so someone says they're a STEM student, they receive the STEM scholarship. Where do I pay the remaining for the dorm fee? You will pay the remaining. You can pay it via bank transfer, come to the Mico, pay at the cashier or paymaster, right? You just pay the difference because the boarding for this academic year is $76,000 for double occupancy. So, and the STEM scholarship covers only $70,000 for your double occupancy. So you'll pay the remaining $6,000. And for persons who will be boarding for both semesters, the STEM scholarship only covers the first semester or one semester boarding, and you will be responsible for the next semester boarding. All right, so we're still going through the chat to see if there's any question that we would need to address. All right, so someone is asking, all right, so I've seen a situation where persons come to make payment. All right, so I would encourage you only make payment if you would have received an acceptance letter with your identification number. The miscellaneous fee is a fee that is non-refundable. We've seen a few cases where persons would have received a provisional acceptance letter, which means that they would have not been given an ID number, however they are coming to make payment. Now, the provisional acceptance letter means that you're pending some either results or stuff like that, right? Which means that you have not been fully accepted by the college. So if you have not been fully accepted, we will urge you to hold off on your payments, right? Wait until you have been fully accepted, which means that you would have received your package, you would have received your identification number, which is what we use to link your payments to your account. So if you do not have an identification number, we suggest that you hold off on making any payments. Someone asks, are we purchasing uniform fabric from the school? I would suggest you purchase the fabric from the school because you might go elsewhere and the fabric is not the same material or the same standard or quality. If it's a case that you visit the Mico University College by the bookshop and for whatever reason there's not enough quantity of material or quantity of material, you can get a sample from them and then you can go and purchase the material elsewhere. But we suggest that your first stop be the bookshop at the Mico University College to procure your material. All right, so someone is asking about the PART bursary. All right, so persons who are granted the PART bursary are granted an amount of $100,000 that goes towards your tuition. But we want to remind persons that usually the PART bursary comes over in your second semester. So in the interim, we would encourage you to make payments towards your tuition. And if needs be, the only amount that should be outstanding would be the $100,000 from PART. All right, someone asked regarding SLB. It says, what if SLB has approved your loan, however, the process isn't completed by September 5th? What do you do? As explained before, SLB will be covering only the tuition. So we would expect that the student or the person applying for the loan would make payment for their miscellaneous fee, which is what you would use to complete the financial clearance form. Now, we will temporarily financially clear you, and this was sent in your package as well, that if you're a new SLB applicant, you will be required to pay the miscellaneous fee in full, which is $45,000, along with a $50,000 deposit towards your tuition, right? So once you would have done that part, and we review your account during the financial clearance, then you will be financially cleared. Because what we realize over the time, persons would have applied to SLB, and on their end, they would have assumed that they would have completed all the process. But then come, say, October, November, December, or in the second semester, they would have not received the loan from SLB for one reason or the other. So with that being said, we will urge persons to make a down payment towards their tuition, along with the full payment of the miscellaneous fee to be fully financially clear. And we want to encourage persons who are on the SLB to ensure that you complete all the documents properly. You have submitted all the documentation you need to submit. Pay special attention on the SLB portal to see where your status is and when your status changes. All right? Because the agreement is between yourself and SLB. So some amount of accountability must lie with you, the student, to ensure that you have done all that you need to do in terms of submitting the documentation and completing the SLB application process. All right, so someone is asking, for the first-time applicants with SLB who have paid the $50,000, will it be refunded? What we suggest you to do, say you pay a miscellaneous fee, you pay the $50,000 towards the tuition, and then in the second semester or so, you are fully approved for SLB application. That $50,000 that you would have paid can be used for the next academic year for your miscellaneous fee. So the miscellaneous fee for second year would have been covered, and then seeing that you're no longer a new applicant for SLB, you would not be required to pay the $50,000 deposit on the SLB at that point in time. So technically, you would have covered your second year's miscellaneous fee during your first year. Right, so some persons are expressing challenges in making payment tomorrow. Again, even though we don't want you to wait until the deadline, which is September 5th, so you have on between now and September 5th to make all the payments that you're making. Again, you can make payments via Paymaster, be it online or in person at the Paymaster location. The account number is your ID number, and you're paying to the Mico University College. Persons can make online payment through the banks. So you can pay, if you're a day student, you pay to the NCB account. If you're an evening student, you pay to the Sagicor account. So someone asks, what if you can't pay before September 5th? If no payment is made or sufficient payment is not made before September 5th, it means that you would not be able to complete the financial clearance form. If you don't complete the financial clearance form, it means you will not be able to complete your registration during the registration period. So we urge persons to make the necessary arrangements to make your payment before September 5th so that you can complete the clearance form and be financially cleared and complete the registration. And again, for persons who are on scholarships or grants, those persons who, if you're on a scholarship or grant and you're not going to be making payments yourself, the letter that you would have received to say, congratulations, you have received the scholarship or grant. If you received an email to say that you have received that said in scholarship or grant, you may use that email or letter as your proof of payment and upload when you're completing the financial clearance form. All right, so someone is asking, is the evening school optional for online? I believe it's safe to say once you're an evening student, based on the program you're doing, the department or your timetable should indicate if it's online or face-to-face or a mixture of both. So we suggest to you when the academic orientation begins, you can make that query just to confirm. And reminding persons that the miscellaneous fee is non-refundable. You can always check the student handbook, which is online. It stipulates that the miscellaneous fee is a non-refundable fee. So we ask persons to make an informed decision when you're going to make their payments and to understand that based on the handbook and the rules and regulations of the Mico University College, the miscellaneous fee, that's $45,000, is a fee that is non-refundable. All right, someone asks, can we come to school without the full tuition fee being paid? Once you have subscribed to one of the payment plans, which would mean that your miscellaneous fees paid, and depending on the plan that you select, the tuition is being paid. It might not necessarily be in full. However, payments must be made for you to complete the financial clearance form and for you to be registered. Someone says, can you still come to school if you haven't paid the miscellaneous fee or the tuition fees? No. Let me repeat, the registration period closes September 5th. All students who will be attending are expected to pay the miscellaneous fee, portion of the fee, the tuition fee, complete the financial clearance form, and then complete their registration. Don't believe we can get any more clearer than that. It says, can you attend classes even if your financial clearance is not processed as yet? What we are trying to do is to ensure that by September 5th or on the day or just before the errand closes, all persons who have been deemed financially cleared are able to complete their registration. So that's what we're aiming for. As a new student, you may be able to attend classes in the interim as long as you know that you are in good financial standings, meaning that you would have paid the miscellaneous fee and you would have been making payments towards your tuition. For person, as someone asked regarding the conditional acceptance letter, how should we proceed? I believe the letter would have been sent to you pending your CXC results, right? So once you have seen your CXC results and you have met the requirements of the Mico University College, it is safe to say that you will be contacted by email or such to confirm that you have been fully accepted. If you have the time, if you're in Kingston and you're able to, you may visit the student affairs department or make a call and to find out from them if you have been fully accepted so that you may receive your package and your identification number for you to complete your registration process.
Ted?
Yes.
I'm seeing a question here, and probably Dean Baker Gibson. Dean Baker Gibson, I hope you're still in the room. Dean Baker Gibson? All right. I'm seeing a question asking about STEM scholarships. Dean Baker Gibson, for applicants to the STEM scholarship, do they get a link to the interview before Wednesday? I see that question coming from Miss Melissa Lewis. Is there anyone who could answer that question? Chad, I'm not sure if you have that answer.
No, for that particular question, no. I believe Dean Baker Gibson would be the best person to respond.
All right, let me see if
All
I
right.
can judge. Okay.
Thank
Dr.
you,
Dunkley?
Dr. Dunkley.
Mm-hmm.
I think I stepped away for a few minutes. Thank you for that question. Yes, the students will be informed by the heads of department. They're in collaboration with the students via their WhatsApp group or whatever medium they're using. The students will be informed and be given the respective Zoom link.
All right, thank you for that, Melissa. I hope your question has been answered.
All right, just to add to what, like, seeing that we're on the STEM topic. So
Okay.
in the previous year, there are just a few students who would have applied for the STEM scholarship. I believe they would have received an email or letter to say congratulations on receiving the scholarship. However, where the payment is concerned, I believe there is a bonding agreement that the student needs to sign. Now, there were a few students who presumably did not sign the bonding agreement, and based on the scholarship, persons are entitled to a $70,000 refund for those who are not boarding. Now, if you do not sign the bonding, I believe the ministry will not grant the scholarship to you. And if you're not granted the scholarship, you will not be entitled to the $70,000 refund. Additionally, if you're not granted the scholarship, the tuition cost is then now shifted to you, the student, and you will have to clear that outstanding amount. All right, I see. I don't think it's a complete question. It says, "Where do I upload it?" I'm assuming you're making reference to your payments or your scholarship letter. So again, there's an email. We will send it out again. We've sent it out before, and it can be found on the Mico University College website. That's the link to the financial clearance form. So when you're completing the form, nearing the end of the form, there's a section that says upload proof of payment. As I said before, your proof of payment would be if you're making payment, that receipt, say you make payment via Paymaster, you'd upload that receipt. If you make a bank transfer, you'd upload that confirmation to say the funds have been transferred to the Mico University College. If you're a scholarship recipient, STEM recipient, if you're receiving a grant, if you're a sports scholarship recipient, you will upload either the letter that you'd have received from the institution or entity, or the email confirmation that you would have received from them.
All right. This question is going to go to the registrar. It is going to go to, and I see Mrs. Youngwall is already answering. Janelle, I know the registrar spoke about it, and I know Mrs. Youngwall spoke about the PATH scholarship, the PATH grant. Please look at the response. But Mrs. Baker Gibson, when this student, Janelle Shimhue, when am I expected to get the STEM scholarship acceptance letter and instructions?
All
That's
right,
a question coming up.
I was just responding to the student. Once you have completed the interview process, the letter is generated and emailed to you. So you have to go through the process. You complete the interview within the department, the letter is generated, and then shortly after, within a week, you should be in receipt of that letter, and you're notified.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, Orina. All right, beautiful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of our orientation. We are in our question and answer section. Chad, are you seeing any more questions and answers? Are you seeing any more questions?
All right, I spot two. I can address them quickly. All right, so
Okay.
someone asked, if they must pay at the school. No, you don't have to pay at the school. As I said before, you can pay via Paymaster. The account number you're paying to is your ID, your Mico identification number. You can make payments via bank transfer. So day students make payment to the NCB account. Evening students make payment to the Sagicor account. We would have sent out that email with the account information, and we will be sending it again. Let's see if there was another question. Someone asked, does the STEM scholarship cover the entire tuition and miscellaneous fee? Yes. So the STEM scholarship, persons who are on the STEM scholarship covers your entire tuition, your miscellaneous fee, and $70,000 be towards your boarding, or you can apply for the refund for that $70,000. Now, just to touch on the refund, so when we get to that part of the academic year, Student Finance will be sending out an email with a link for you to complete a Google form to provide your account information, right? So persons don't need to necessarily come and ask when will they be getting the refund, what's the process for the refund. When we get to that part, we will send out the necessary information. Persons are urged to complete the form properly. Don't rush it. Take your time, because when you put the wrong information in and the bursary tries to make the payment, it will then be returned to the Mico University College. And for us to send the payment again, it will then cost the college. All right? So we're asking persons to read the questions carefully, put the proper information that is required. Also, persons can only be sent the refund to their account, right? If you're going to use your mother's or your father's account, your name, the student's name, must be on the account as well. The Mico will not be sending the payments to any third parties. All right? All right, I believe we would have touched almost all the questions I'm seeing here.
All right. Thank you ever so much for that very engaging question and answer session. Ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing our orientation to a close. I would like to thank you all for your attention, your energy, and your openness to beginning this new journey. To our speakers, presenters today, I hope you got their names, because they are going to play an integral part in your journey here at the University College. Please remember, success in this journey is not about perfection. It is about persistence, curiosity, and commitment. Please take advantage of the guidance, the advice of your lecturers, peers, and all the colleagues and friends that you will meet along the way. And the Mico reminds us in our song, in our motto, in everything you say and do, you will see it. Do it with thy might. Approach your studies, your growth, and your goals with this in mind. On behalf of the university community, I officially welcome you to the start of this exciting term. And we look forward to seeing you and helping you accomplish your goals. Thank you, and all the very best as we make this journey ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for being here today. We now close Orientation 2025. Be reminded, academic orientation tomorrow. Please check your emails for that link. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen.